You guys surely have heard of Joe Rogan, right? You know, the famous podcaster, UFC commentator, and comedian. Did you know that Joe Rogan is actually a martial artist himself and has a pretty fit body as well? But if you look at Joe Rogan's physique, you'll notice one thing above all: his bubble gut, which simply can't be overlooked. But why does he have it? Stay tuned and we'll tell you. Bubble guts are not uncommon, especially in the bodybuilding community. Nowadays, almost every one of the best bodybuilders in the world has them. And what do these bodybuilders all have in common? That's right, they eat high-calorie, high-carb diets and take growth hormones and use insulin to boost performance. Growth hormones can cause the lateral abdominal muscles to grow extremely, which can make it increasingly difficult to keep the abdomen from protruding, creating a bubble gut like Joe Rogan has. Bubble guts also have to do with increased insulin resistance, which can occur when insulin is taken as a performance-enhancing substance. This is because after a carbohydrate-rich meal, the glucose from it is normally absorbed directly in the intestine and then passed on into the blood, causing the blood glucose level to rise. The pancreas then measures the blood glucose level and releases an appropriate amount of insulin in response. Normally, the cells respond immediately and absorb the glucose from the blood. In the case of insulin resistance, however, this takes a very long time because the insulin can no longer behave correctly. Meanwhile, digestion continues to work anyway and transports more and more glucose into the blood, causing the blood sugar level to rise even higher. The reaction of the pancreas? It secretes more and more insulin, sometimes up to 15 times the normal amount. Scientists call this hyperinsulinemia. In other words, too much insulin in the blood. And this hyperinsulinemia can cause nerve damage, among other things, which in turn can slow digestion, also contributing to a typical bubble gut. How can we tell this is exactly the cause of Joe Rogan's bubble gut? It's simple. We only need to look at pictures from his younger years and from today. Joe Rogan's face alone has changed extremely since then. His bone structure is much more massive, which is a clear sign of growth hormone abuse. The bubble gut is just another symptom of growth hormones and additional use of insulin. And it's far from just Joe Rogan, who seems to be taking growth hormones and insulin to become more muscular and massive. Recently, for example, actor Zac Efron can be observed to have quite a bubble gut. Of course, a bloated belly can just happen when you've eaten too much. But when it's permanent, combined with other factors, it's a pretty clear sign of growth hormone and insulin use, especially among world-class bodybuilders like Big Ramy, Brandon Curry, Hadi Choopan, and many other athletes. It is now completely normal to have a bubble gut. It is simply a side effect of performance-enhancing substances that is widely accepted. And what's more, growth hormones cause not only muscles, but also organs to grow. This is also a reason why this creates a bubble gut, because the organs need more and more space in the abdominal cavity. So over time, the abuse of growth hormones can be very dangerous and is therefore absolutely not recommended, unless they are prescribed by a doctor for certain diseases. But that's not the case for bodybuilders or Joe Rogan, because they simply take it for better muscle growth. The same applies to insulin, of course. That's it again for today. If you liked our video, share it with your friends.